Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us here today. I know we're a little bit delayed. We were just going over some exciting news, so I do have the update. You are joining I believe this is the first panel for Dream Big, Do Bigger. We are on the beginning of our journey of the stats, so it just came in. We are international bestsellers already, 4 countries, and that would be so the US, UK, Canada, and Australia. We hit 19 categories overall. Obviously, a lot more to come. So congratulations, ladies. You did amazing. And I want to say a shout out to UK, Canada, and Australia. All the individuals there who've been sharing the links. It's really been showing. You actually kicked US's butts. So congratulations, because that's not usually typical in the beginning. So I'm proud to congratulations. And oops, sorry, Colleen. I didn't see her in the back and I added her in right when she was taking a bite. But thank you all so much for joining. We have an exciting panel here today, as you can see, and some fun questions. So I just want to give everyone a quick 20 seconds if you want to go around the room, tell us your name, where you're coming to us from, and what you do. So I'm going to go ahead and we can popcorn it off. So let's go to Gail.
Good evening, everyone. I am Gail Marielle. I am one of the co-authors of Dream Big, Do Bigger. I am the founder of Success Redefined, and I inspire and empower women who are suffering from self-doubt and lack of self-confidence to overcome imposter syndrome and be able to redefine their success and move forward in life.
Yes. Who would you like to popcorn it to?
Colleen.
Awesome. Well, my name is Colleen McCartney. I'm in Virginia, just outside of Washington, D.C., and I am the CEO of Nerdly Marketing Agency. We are the social plus systems for growing and scaling your business online, and everything from your automations, funnels, websites, automations for social media. We have all of that under one roof and make sure that everything can talk to each other so that you can grow and scale your business with ease. And actually, we have a partner who helps with SOP so that you can actually start delegating and not having to wear 17,000 hats as an entrepreneur, which has been an amazing journey for me because I really thought I had to do everything myself. And I got to tell you, being able to be like, just writing down an idea and then it just appears. I'm like, I feel like I just graduated Hogwarts. Like I write it and it appears. I didn't do this. Why didn't anyone tell me this was a thing before? So Samantha, why don't you tell us more about you?
All right. I am Samantha Lander. I am a functional diagnostic nutritionist. So everyone's always like, what in the world does that even mean? So we'll dummy it down. Basically, I'm a personal trainer, so I have a background in health and wellness and fitness. And so I can use that background to help with what I do with my functional diagnostic, which is really great for clients who are trying to figure out what to do in the gym. But I run labs. So I can run pretty much any lab that a doctor would run, your typical like MD that you would go see, but mine are typically a little more functional. And so we'll be looking at things such as like food sensitivities, your hormones. We do a very comprehensive hormone panel. We look at like your stress levels, your cortisol. We can look at heavy metals, and we look at your gut. So the gut is the second brain. I'm a firm believer, and a root cause of many of our roadblocks for health is something's going on in the gut. There's an underlying infection, autoimmune condition, heavy metals. And once you start clearing out the body and detoxing it and getting a very individualized like eating plan and supplement regime, then usually 99% of my clients get the results that they've been looking for the past 10 years or more, on and off, trying fad diets or basically working out more, eating less, doing all the typical things that we've all been taught. And they're not getting results. They almost feel worse. And 99% of my clients have an underlying gut infection, typically 2 of them, a parasite, probably in some sort of bacteria overgrowth. So I help identify the root cause of what's going on with someone's health after they've sort of been, basically they're sick and tired of being sick and tired, and they want answers, and they aren't really getting them through Western medicine. Not that doctors are bad, but that's it.
Oh, all right.
All right. CJ.
Hi, I'm CJ and I'm hailing from Wisconsin, and it's super cold in here today. It's like -11, so that sucks. But anyways, I am founder and CEO of Queen by Design, and I basically help women remove the limiting beliefs and self-imposed labels of just a mom, just a wife, just a fill in the blank, and help them uncover those limiting beliefs and then step into their own power. I'm also a high ticket affiliate marketer with Enagic, and I also help those women who step into their power then learn how to build their personal brand, align with a high ticket offer, and build a legacy income. Annabelle.
Hello, I'm Annabelle Beckwith. I'm based in Scotland in the UK, and my company is called Yara Journeys. And I specialise with my team in working with leaders focused on business growth. So in essence, I will work with leaders, with business owners, with executives to help them grow and build their own personal leadership capability and their confidence and overcome imposter syndrome as they grow out their teams and their businesses, ensuring that they build a business and build a team that they love and that they are running their business isn't running them.
Perfect. And Michelle.
Hey everyone, I'm Michelle Mesa out of Oklahoma. I'm the single mom, entrepreneur, and CEO of Luxy Coaching and Consulting. So I help people transform their minds. I'm a mindset and business coach, so I help people overcome self-sabotaging thoughts and behaviors so they can achieve their dreams. And I also help people take their ideas from concept to six-figure brands.
Beautiful. So as you all can see, we're super diverse in what we do. We're super diverse in where we come from, and the personalities speak for themselves naturally. I'm super excited because this book is, I mean, the title alone can be a little intimidating, right? But it's also kind of filled with surprises. It makes you wonder what each of us have written into our chapters. What did we want to shine light on? And we're going to help kind of answer those questions with some of these sub questions. So the first one is, what does dream big, do bigger look like to you? So I'm going to go ahead and hand this one off first to Michelle.
So dream big, do bigger. What it means to me is thinking about your wildest dreams. So going above and beyond your thoughts and imagination, and stretch yourself, and not in a bad way, just challenge yourself to dream big. And what happens when you shift your mindset from a limited belief to an abundance mindset is you see the world in a bigger and broader light. And so with that, naturally our actions become different as our thoughts become actions. And so that allows us to deeply navigate into, okay, I have these big goals and dreams. It requires me to be challenged and motivated to knock out those goals.
Love it. And how about you, Samantha? What does dreaming big and doing bigger look like for you?
All right, so for me, I guess I've kind of like been a visionary. I feel like my whole life I have an idea, and this is what happened when I had my first call with Nicole. And I didn't even know about the book. I said, I don't know, it's really weird. I just like think something and then I go and I just do it, and I don't really think about like the consequences if I fail. Which is like I decided to, after college, I got this great degree, and I decided to move to LA and become a DJ, and I want to just be this big superstar female DJ in LA. And I didn't even like question it. And so I was just kind of like, you have an idea and a dream, you just go and you do it, and everything sort of falls into place. I mean, obviously it was more complicated. I mean, less complicated when I was 22 without a single mom and all those things. But I think it's really important for your dream is to look at like your legacy too. So like when you are not around, what are you going to leave behind for your family, your community, your coworkers, the people you've worked with? So I think it's really important to think of your dream and your mission. And for me, it's like, I want to help people with their health, and I want to, I do a lot of work with people in recovery and, sober moms that want to optimize their health. And so I want to be able to teach them how to have lifestyle changes that then go down to their children, that go to the community, and then speak to the kids at the schools, and then speaking events. So I think as you grow, your legacy and your dream become bigger naturally, just doing what you're passionate about. So I don't know.
Love it. Okay. So I'm going to let one more answer this question. Dang it. There's too many. I want to see all the perspectives. So let's let everyone answer this one. We'll go around and then we'll jump on the last two. So how about you, Gail?
Dream big, do bigger means pretty vast for me. I love the fact that when I was a child, I had so many wild dreams. My chapter really talks about limiting beliefs, whether they were external narratives that prevented me from pursuing my dreams, or even myself, looking at myself and having lack of self-confidence. And going through the process, going through the journey of really identifying who you are, what you want to do, who you want to be, is really a big factor. And just going through the journey itself is what I feel that is the do bigger part. You know, you have this wild dream, you want to go for it, so you try to go for it. But in the meantime, as the journey happens, there are so many opportunities that come your way that you couldn't have possibly dreamed that would come. And just absorbing that and accepting it and being able to really engage in it is a far fulfilling thing to happen to you as you go through that journey to fulfill that big goal. So that's the perspective that I come from, is, you know, again, the big goal, but the journey that comes with it, and really releasing your limiting beliefs and being able to do what you can control and letting go of what you can't.
Beautiful. I love especially the letting go, right? It's just, they're so restricting, and it messes with your mind. So if you learn to just allow what came into your life, release the negative parts, and move forward, you stop halting yourself. That's the biggest thing.
Exactly.
How about you, CJ?
For me, it's evolved as my journey's evolved. When I was younger, it was like dream big. You know, I come from a small town, so it was like always that one standout in school. So the dream was to always be like valedictorian, or the standout, you know, the top person. And dreaming big was always like wanted to push the boundaries and be something different than what everybody expected or what everybody said you were capable in school. And so as I've grown and evolved, the dream big got to be opening my own cafe and doing the thing, and, you know, proving to myself that I could do something that huge and run it. But then when pandemic came and that closed down, it took on a life of its own for me. The dream bigger part was like realizing that it's not about me. It's about giving back. It's about helping to expand on a global level and serve at a global level. I mean, I was limited with the cafe to the location where I am, but being in the online space, we are not limited to being able to have service and impact on a global scale. So just getting out of my own skin and out of my own selfishness of wanting to grow myself, and then dreaming bigger is like seeing how many other people that I can push the dream along to see what's capable for them.
And how does that make you feel now that you get to be on that side where you're helping to push?
It makes me really emotional, because I always tell everybody that I come into contact with, because most of the women that I talk to, they have very little self-esteem. They don't believe they can do anything. And I'm like, somebody told me, I believe in you until you believe in you. And that's what I tell everybody that I talk to now. So it's very emotional to know that there's so many people that you have the ability to help up-level their lives. It's kind of overwhelming in a little bit, but it's kind of like, oh, I'm here for a purpose that's so much bigger than what I even know right now. So it's huge, and it feels really good to be able to pass that along.
Beautiful. I love that. How about you, Annabelle?
It's an interesting one, because like many of the ladies have already spoken, I've always had a sense of adventure and wanting to do something. When I was at school, I wanted to be an actress on the stage, Shakespeare and so forth. And it was like, don't be ridiculous. Nobody earns money doing that. And it's almost like oftentimes, and whether it's a cultural thing or otherwise, sometimes just the way in which we were brought up, where we're taught not to have big dreams. We're taught to conform. We're taught to to believe that this is the box that we fit into, and it's dangerous to go outside that. And so we stop ourselves even dreaming. So if we don't dream, then there's no chance of actually making it happen and of doing bigger. So the first stage is obviously getting to that point where we realize, hang on, what if those confines that other people have put on me and I've chosen to believe, what if those aren't true? And then it comes to making a decision that actually I'm going to move forward. I'm going to do something here. So my chapter is around crossing the bridge from dreaming to results, and about making that initial decision to, yes, I will. Yes, I will. I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to move forward with purpose. And then what happens on that journey as you cross the bridge? Because sometimes when we hear success stories from people, it's almost as if they gloss over that bit. It's like, I made a decision and I did this and then that happened. And you think, yeah. Actually, what happens? There are stumbling blocks. We face imposter syndrome. We doubt ourselves. We listen to the opinions of other people. We compare ourselves with others. All of these things happen on the journey, and then we arrive. So for me, it's very much that twofold thing: allowing yourself to dream big, allowing yourself to dream bigger than you have before. Dare to dream, and from there, it's a question of deciding to actually put that into action and move forward purposefully to move into being the you that you need to be to cross the bridge and get the results that you want in your life.
Beautiful. I love the analytical side, the deepness, the philosophical answer. I mean, that's amazing. I love the way you broke it down for us. How about you, Colleen?
To me, dream big, do bigger means that as big as you think your dream is, it's not big enough. And that's so true, especially like with the journey I went through. Like, I was a network marketer for a decade. And so, mind you, I was also a network engineer before that. So I just completely forgot about those years, right? So I was like, oh, I'm a network marketer. And the entire idea of launching a marketing agency, I was like, oh man. So it's I think Gail and CJ were talking a lot about the limiting beliefs and breaking through the things these false narratives that we tell ourselves, right? And it's funny because like I was just talking to an agency friend of mine, and I was like, do you remember like a year ago? And I was asking like, do you think like, is this how, like, oh, maybe? And she's like, dude, like, you're smarter than me. Like, why are you even asking these questions? Like, I don't know. And it's the biggest message I want to get out to people is don't wait for and I hate starting a sentence with don't. You're the only one who can decide what you can and cannot do. Yeah. That's the better way to phrase it. You're the only one who can decide what you can and cannot do. If you tell yourself you can't do it, you're not going to do it. But if you tell yourself, I can do something and I can figure out how to do it. I can do hard things. You can go out and do whatever. Like, and I loved how Samantha was just like, yeah, I was 20 and decided I wanted to go be a DJ. I mean, I right there with you. I decided I wanted to go be a mermaid. I did that, and I started a whole school and a convention, and I didn't know how. I just did it. It's, you believe in something, and if you follow that belief strongly, I mean, you can't just believe that, hey, I want to have $1 million and it's going to happen, right? But like, you follow that passion and you're hungry for it, you can make it happen.
It always brings me back. Anytime someone kind of starts to talk about just doing it, it makes me think of Nike. I'm not trying to promote them, but I love the slogan. It's so simple. To me, we concentrate so hard on why we can't do something when we could have been putting our efforts into just doing it. So I'm right there with you, Colleen. I love that. Which leads us into the next question, actually. It says, what good is a dream without any action? So maybe we can kind of redefine the question, what it means to us. So I'll go back to you, Samantha.
Okay, so what good is a dream without any action?
Yeah.
So I think that leads to a lifelong, I don't know where it would sit, but it's going to sit somewhere in your body of just like regret. You know, I work with clients and I see it daily, like where they have all these dreams and aspirations, but they're always making excuses for themselves, like out of fear. But usually it's fear-based thinking, you know, that keeps you from actually trying to do something that's scary or outside the box. But I think otherwise, you know, it's just going to sit in you and you're going to have regret down the road always. And then that turns a lot of times to resentment. And then that is going to impact everything else in your life. So you might resent your kid, you might resent, you know, your loved one, which also then causes your mental health to deteriorate, which also impacts your physical health. And so I think it's important, even if you just like speak it out or write out a business plan, do something with the idea. You don't necessarily have to do it, but at least you're talking about it and you've expressed it to people, or thrown the idea in front of someone. And if it becomes a no, then at least you can say you've tried. So I think it's very important to be proactive, you know, and not like reactive to the point where like, oh shit, now I'm in a place where I'm never going to do this. So
I agree. How about you, Gail?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with Samantha. I think it would sit on your mind, and to kind of think, okay, what if, you start having these weird internal discussions with yourself, right? What if, could have, should have, all those haves, and not going for it, and you may fail, and you may end up trying to redirect yourself to meet those goals, but at least you tried. And if you fail fast, and you'll be able to get back up and try to find another route to get to where you want to be. And I feel an unfulfilled dream will be an unfulfilled life because of the fact that you didn't try. And you're always going to see behind you what my life could have been if I only did this. And I completely agree with Samantha that it's something that you would need to really have in your heart to really go for it and be able to understand where you want to be and fulfill that.
I love that. And then I also kind of think, like, when you're talking about what good is a dream without any action? So it's almost like you start to assess your dream unintentionally. Like, is it even what I want? Can I operate with that? Like, is it worth it? You start to analyze the situation. Whereas if you stop focusing on how, just start with the actions, just start somewhere.
A dream without action isn't a dream. That's a nightmare. Like,
there you go.
I mean, really, that is just your own, just living through that every day. That is just a pure creation of anxiety and stress. And that's just that's gonna create more limiting beliefs and even more roadblocks that you're creating yourself because you're not taking action. I mean, I deal with severe anxiety, and I can tell you, the number one fix for me for dealing with any anxieties about my business: shut up and do work. Just pick something and go take action. Send out messages to customers. Just any of the things that are income producing actions for your business. Just doing something. Yeah, you probably have 5,000 other things that you haven't gotten done. And guess what? That's okay. If you're taking the actions, your body knows. Like, to a cellular level, your brain understands what's going on. You may not understand, but your body understands, and it will relieve that pressure and it will relieve that stress. Like, it is, I'm sure, some science somewhere, but I don't care if it isn't. I know it works for me. And, I mean, the life I've lived, the things I've gone through, the things I've done, like, half the things shouldn't have happened, but they did. Right. It's just, I've had people ask me, like, how do I keep doing the things after crap I've gone through? I'm like, I just show up. I just move forward. I mean, what's my other option? Lay down and die? Like, that's not an option to me. It's just a show up, do something. It may not be much, but it's, rebuilding that habit of show up and do something. Show up and do something.
Beautiful. How about you, Michelle?
Yeah, I think you know, as you ladies were speaking, you know, I was thinking about my mom. You know, I'm a storyteller, so I've got to incorporate a story in this, but it's a good one. Because when you sit on an idea or a dream or whatever massive talent that you have, you become stagnant. You become almost drowning in a pond of sorrow. And I just think of my mother, because she spent 70 years on this earth and didn't do anything with her talents and dreams. And what ended up happening to her is it did affect her. It's like a chain of events that affected her health, her organs, you know, all that regret and wishful thinking and, you know, what if that was literally stuck in her body and causing it caused sickness. And then of course it led to her death. And so, you know, everyone that I come across, you know, if they start talking about, well, I wish I really could, but, you know, that's negative self-talk. How you speak to yourself really matters. And, you know, instead of self-sabotaging your dreams, you know, put it into action, even just like Colleen said, and the lady said, even if it's just one small step ahead. Okay. You're still further than you were yesterday. And that's where a lot of people get stuck. They think, oh, I can't do it. Or, oh, it takes thousands of dollars to start it, whatever it is. But really, no, you know, it doesn't. You just need to get the ideas out of your head. And, you know, I always encourage people to write it down. There was a board for a long time and I called it the parking lot. And I literally wrote my dreams and ideas on that parking lot until I was able to start checking it off. And I was like, hey, I'm onto something. And that's what I do with my clients. And before you know it, they just completely transform their thought process. And now those dreams become goals, which are required by action.
I love the perspectives, the situations that put us into movement, whether we started it, whether a thought started it, whether someone pushed us that direction, opened our eyes, we saw life experience. And it is science. It does show when you're, you know, what's going on up here affects the rest of your body to a cellular level. It's proven. And then the idea of knowing to some capacity that our bodies and our minds and our souls are connected to this universe as a whole, that's a whole other level. We won't go there today, but it's just amazing to think of how vast our minds are because of how vast the universe is. And so if you believe it, if you dream it, you can make it happen. I'm going to go to our third question. How can women start making their dreams become a reality? Who wants to go first? Samantha, go for it.
Because I have to go get my kid. So, single mom life and a sick dad. So to make your dreams a reality, I think first things first is put it on paper, speak it out, tell someone, talk about it. I have a vision board literally on my shower wall. I need to kind of update it, but I do have it, I tape it to my shower so I see it. It's where I'm gonna actually stop and look, because we are always so busy. At least I know most of the females in my life, we're so busy that we don't stop and take a breath or smell the roses or anything. So I like to get up and I have, my vision board that I see when I shower. I do a gratitude list. At the end of the day, I do a daily inventory, and that kind of relieves me of any of the burdens of everyday guilt that I could have for wanting to pursue my dream. Because I think there is a lot of guilt and shame when it comes to especially being a mom, or I know as a mom, I can't say because I am a mom as a more grown adult, but going outside the box and taking those risks, I think that if you first of all, surround yourself by successful people, you'll be successful, right? I think if you're going to tell people who want to bring you down, they're going to bring you down, and they're going to tell you not to do it, and they're going to trash your idea. So be careful who you share your dream with, and share it with people who are only going to build you up. And then that'll give you more of the confidence and less of the guilt to realize, okay, you know what? I can be a mom. I can be a parent. You know what? Look at J-Lo. Look at all these people. I know they have a lot of money, but they do a lot of stuff. She still has to show up for stuff, and it's a lot of work. And if they can do it, we can do it. It's just, you got to be organized. You got to have a plan, and you got to be ready to do the work. I mean, it's not going to be easy. So that's it. But I'm going to say bye. Thank you guys. It was good to see a one-on-one group. I kind of like know you now.
Yeah.
Thank you, Samantha.
Good. All right.
Samantha, have a good
Bye, guys.
rest of your day. Congratulations. Awesome. I love that perspective too. I wish she could have been on a little bit longer because I wanted to ask about, and I'll get some of the ladies here's perspective on that too. But what the difference is when you have a kid, right? Your dreams shift, I would imagine.
Yeah.
So I'll let those who, myself, I don't have a kid yet. I don't know who doesn't.
Oh,
Okay. You and me, Colleen? Okay, we'll
I
say
have
we'll go.
dogs and like 9 nieces and nephews. I'm good. Y'all doing guys' work over there. I don't know. Like, I'm barely taking care of myself. No.
So it makes a difference, right, ladies? Like if you're okay, so let's kind of go into that a little bit. I want to get that perspective. CJ, do you want to go next?
Being a mom of 7, your
congrats.
Thank you. They totally change because I mean, you put yourself on the back burner as we're growing up. We're like, we have all these goals and aspirations, and we're like, oh, I'm going to accomplish all this. But then once you start having kids, that all like gets pushed to the backside, and you like dug a hole and buried it in the backyard because none of that matters anymore. It's about keeping this tiny human alive. And it's like, then we sort of be like, okay, I want to make sure that my kids know that they can accomplish anything, that they can do anything that they put their mind to. And we spend all of our time pumping breath into them, and we forget about the dreams that we have. And I think, a lot of times as women, we put it in our heads that I can start a business when my kids are grown, or once they start school, or once they graduate, or whatever. And I think that it's really important for us to understand that we can do it all at the same time. It's just a matter of making the decision, giving ourselves the permission. I think that's the huge key, is telling ourselves that it's okay and giving ourselves the green light that, yes, you can do this. And then just really prioritizing, because if I showed my daughters all the while growing up that they have to do for everybody else and make sure everybody else is happy at the expense of themselves, I've not done my job as a mom. And then my dreams are not valid anyways. So I think it's very important to have a fine line where you have your dreams, but then you lead by example and go for those dreams, because you can't give lip service to say you can be anything you want, but yet I've not done anything with my life. So I think it totally changes when you have kids, but it's making it a priority to make yourself a priority as well.
And how about you, Annabelle?
Very much so. My kids are in their 20s now. I have 2. And it's one of those things that my ex-husband didn't work. And so I was the breadwinner from when my children were very, very small. And so that was my entire focus, is like, keep the show on the road, just make sure things were, money was coming in, that the children were provided for. And I used to worry because I was working hard and trying to juggle all of those things. And it is that thing where if I was working, I felt guilty that I wasn't doing things with the kids. But when I was doing things with the kids, I thought, oh, there's work to be done. And I used to genuinely become quite emotional when the children were small, and thinking to myself, what are they going to think when they grow up? Are they going to recognize that mum did everything that she could to keep a roof over our heads and food on the table? Or are they going to say, mum was never there, she was working all the time? And thankfully, it's the former. It's they're saying, mum did whatever she could to keep things going. And I'm blessed that they see me as a role model in various work-related aspects. And so, to CJ's point, what I've always said to my kids, find something you love doing and you can devote your life to, and then find a way to get people to pay you for it. They see me doing that. But I think also, again, it's a similar point that's already been made, that quite often we find ourselves put into a box. It's like, oh, well, I can't do that because. And I think all you have to do is start to think about, well, for me, it was like, listen, nobody else is bringing in money. It's got to be me. It's got to be. So the back was against the wall. But it's that thing, rather than, and this isn't just true of being a working mum, true of anything. Rather than thinking, oh, I can't because, just switch that slightly to say to yourself, how can I, and sometimes just flicking that question, how can I, suddenly you're thinking, oh, of ways to move forward rather than ways to justify not moving forward in your chosen direction. And again, just CJ, again, just following on and picking up on your point there, is just ask yourself, whose permission do you need to succeed? Nobody's, just your own drive. So those were the key things for me. And I'm really blessed, just to sort of finish up, that I thought that when I turned 50, I would have some kind of epiphany, like, well, hey, you know, halfway to 100, all of that. And I didn't. It was actually last September when my son turned 21. And it was like, oh my word, I've got 2 children through to adulthood with no arrests, no public scandals, no social media disasters. That, my friends, is a parenting win, let me tell you, these days. But I got to that point, and it was almost like a freeing up of, I mean, that you're always going to be a mother. You're always going to worry for your kids and want to be there to support them and so forth. But it was like, oh, my time now. Mm-hmm. And stepping into that. So it's a very exciting stage of life, actually. But yes, parenthood, motherhood shifts everything.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Gail?
I actually have a different perspective. I agree with everything everyone said so far. I am a Filipino American, born and raised in the Chicago area. So my parents were immigrants to the United States from the Philippines. There is a stigma that if you are Asian, if you are Filipino, you go into the medical field. Mm-hmm. And that was the expectation that they had of me. And I did not want to go into the medical field. I have no desire to do that. I'm so emotional. I cannot separate, business from personal. So I went into the technology industry. As I had my son, I have an only child. I have a son, and I did not want to put that on him to have that certain path. And I understood why my parents did that for me, because they knew that is a good financial security. They wanted to ensure that we had a good life, but that was not what I wanted. And unfortunately, we had challenges and struggles with that, and they eventually accepted my wishes to go into technology. When I had my son, I did not want to pass that generational expectation down. And I wanted to ensure that he went into a dream, or he dreamed that he wanted to do in life, whether personal or as a profession. And knowing that as he grew up, and unfortunately we almost lost him, he had a fatal food allergy to milk. And I did not know that as I was breastfeeding him and weaning him off. He was less than a year old. I had to take him to the emergency room because he started getting into anaphylactic shock. It was a very traumatic time for us. So my focus was keeping that kid alive. And back then there weren't any organic options or any plant-based options aside from regular cow's milk. So it was a challenge getting him the nutrition that he needed from dairy. So as he grew up, I had ensured I did not want to keep him in a bubble, even though I thought I wanted to. And I wanted him to thrive in the environment, in a supporting environment, and not put him into a position that he would regret later on in life. So now he is going to be 21 this year, and he is a private pilot going on to his commercial airline license. So totally outside of the beaten path of the stigma of what Asians do. But at the same time, he's loving it, and we support him 100%. And that's my vision for him, to really go for his dreams that he can pass on to his kids.
Beautiful. What a beautiful, amazing story.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. I know we don't always expect it to happen, but it comes out, when we start talking about what makes us do what we do each day. So I appreciate that. Exactly. Michelle, did you started off with this question, or did we get to you on this one?
No, I'm next.
Okay, go for it.
Yeah, so I am a single mom of 2, and when I began just thinking about, I knew I always wanted to own my own business. I mean, I went to college and my degree is in entrepreneurship, which is unusual, especially when I graduated. That'll kind of date me a little bit, but so, but here I was, a single mom, unexpectedly, of a beautiful child, and I'm thinking to myself every night when I looked into her eyes as she was going off to sleep, I would just hold her. And as mothers, we dream about what our kids are going to be when they grow up, and what can we install into them as early as we can to make sure that their dreams come alive. And what I realized was my own dreams that I had put aside, thinking, oh, well, everybody around me at the time told me, oh, well, you're a mom now. You need to focus on her. You just need to go get a job. And that's what I did. But I had a degree and everything, had a good job. But then I was faced with, the capped ceiling, the unequal pay, oh, well, I don't know if I should hire you because I found out you have a child and you're going to take off all the time. And my child was never sick. So just different things like that. But what I've learned is, I was at an appointment during that time, and this was back before the utility bills were sent electronically. They come in envelopes. And so I had the envelope in my purse, and I got it out, and I just had this vision of my dream on the back. And so I wrote it down, put it back in my purse, and I kept that envelope through every purse that I transitioned to. But what I wanted to share here is a delay is not a denial. And as a mother, society tells us, oh, well, you're a mom first, you're a wife first, you're everything first. It's kind of like self-care. Oh, well, you need to put your dreams aside. I even had family members, the elders telling me, that's not your role. And I'm like, well, wait, I have this dream just stirring up inside of me, and I need to do it. And so when my kids were 7 and 2, that's when 7 and 9. 2 and 9. That's when I decided I got the envelope out, and I hung it up. And I'm like, I'm going to make that happen this year. And so what started out as a necessity for that particular business, it just opened up my eyes to opportunities, and what it taught me was I can do both. Now, what that looks like on a day-to-day basis is completely different. And was it easy? Absolutely not. I had gone to mixers. Some mixers I couldn't go to because I had, kids to tend to. But when I did go, the conversations I would have, it wouldn't be the same struggle. It felt like at the time that I had to work twice as hard. But what that taught me was to keep going for my dreams. I kept looking at that envelope that I hung on my wall until I made it happen. And what I realize now, my daughters are 19. I have one in college and a 6th grader who's 11. And I remember the last night my oldest daughter was home, we had a bunch of kids over. I cooked for all of them, and they were talking about life and college and their dreams and things. And so they were talking about role models and who inspires them. And my daughter, out of nowhere, like she'd never communicated this to me. I actually wondered if I was a role model to her. And she told everyone, she said, you know what, my mom is, because she taught me that just because she had us, that she didn't have to put her dreams on hold. And so that just like, I ran to the bathroom and cried while they were eating, because that just blew me away. Like, you don't know what people are thinking, and your children are watching, and you're inspiring them. And so now they see the world in a completely different light. My daughter is actually going to get her real estate license. So, she's just amazing. And so while she's going to college for her dreams of being a chiropractor, she's doing something for the now. So it's amazing to see in life through her eyes, and the difference that whatever I did made a difference in her life. And then I have an 11-year-old who's literally a serial entrepreneur. Like every day she comes up with a new company and makes a logo. It's amazing.
That's beautiful. So we got to see how, when you have children, not only did you had a struggle to fight for that dream, and then you made it happen, and then you influenced another person's dream. So you get a bonus one, and the more kids, the more bonus dreams. So that's awesome. How about you, Colleen? For like, how do I wanted to get the perspective? We got the perspective of those who have children and making it their dreams still become a reality. And then now you and I are I'm gonna go last. I'm gonna let you answer first. How does that feel for you? I don't think I can't hear my side. Can you ladies hear? Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry. I had muted my mic because my dogs were being ridiculous. So especially since a lot of times, you know, I'm home alone, my husband's off at work, it's just me by myself with no one else. And I know you moms think this is, oh, you got it, man. Except I got this jerk who lives rent-free right up here, and I'm like in a boxing match all day. Like, no, I can do hard things. No, you can't. You're dumb and you're going to fail at everything you do because you made this mistake when you were 10. And it's just like, that's not the most mind-numbing things. And it can definitely have its own challenges right there. And making your dreams become a reality for me is also been surrounding myself with the right people, right? I don't remember who it is, but I know there's a thing about like you're the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And it's not even just about that. It's, you know, knowing that you cannot do everything yourself, right? You can have the dream, you can have the vision, but you are a singular human being made of flesh and bones, and you are not a machine. You cannot do all the things. No matter how many entrepreneurs out there are wearing 20 different hats, there is a cap that you can get to with that. So I you know, for me, I know making my dreams become a reality, it was a big part of that was making sure that I partner with the right people and be able to know what am I good at? What do I love to do? And it's okay to release the rest and making the smart part, you know, just because I teach someone else to do my special thing does not make me less special. That is a huge thing that I had to work through in the past couple of years. Because, you know, I am like the industry leader at what I do. And there's very few people who understand the technology behind what I do. So, yeah, I hope that is on track with what we were talking about. I know Spicy Brain over here just went on a tangent.
I love the insight because I feel like seeing, you know, parents versus knowing what you would imagine being a parent is like versus, you know, I don't know if I'm explaining this right, but I know I want to have children, right? And I always say this, I love them. I don't know them yet, but I already love them. Like I feel it. And some people don't always have that. I've realized that. I've learned along the way because either you don't want to have children and then something happens and then you do, but not everyone is born with that like innate I want to, like I feel the love already, right? And then so you Colleen, I love that you're on the other side. We're like I'm good. I know what my capacity is, and then I'm on the other side where it's like, okay, I'm waiting, it's gonna happen, you know. And that's part of my dream. I think that's part of my dream. But how many of us here are doing the dream that we thought that we wanted initially? Like how many of us made our initial dream the one that we yeah, how about you, Michelle? No, right? Okay, it changes, right?
It does.
It evolves.
It does.
Okay, how about you, Colleen?
I mean, I dreamt in high school I was going to be a zookeeper. That sure didn't happen. Like, no, I mean, I spent a decade as a network marketer. And even when I had my big dream, it was building this system just for doTERRA people. And now, like, that's this much of what I do. And my coach kept telling me, like, you can do more. And I'm like, okay, that's great. Can someone tell me what more is? Because I don't get it. I don't get it. And no one would tell me. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm just going to keep showing up and trying something. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing, but I'm just gonna keep showing up until someone tells me to stop showing up, and then you figure it out eventually. And I think that's the biggest thing, especially with women, as whether you're an entrepreneur, you're in the corporate world. Don't just go for stuff you know how to do. Right? That is the biggest limitation you can put upon yourself, because guess what? Do you know how to Google something? Do you know how to go look it up? Are you resourceful enough to be like, all right, well, I have some knowledge in this and I have some knowledge in this, so let me put it together. Right? I just see so many people like sell themselves short because they're like, well, I don't know. Could you figure it out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that one, I have to say, Colleen, because one of my thing it was from an Indiana Jones film where I can't remember which one it is, but the plane's coming down, the pilot and co-pilot have jumped out with a parachute, and Indiana Jones and whoever the woman is that he's with at the time are going to crash into the mountain. And he seizes the controls, and she says to him, "Do you know how to fly a plane?" He goes, "No." "How hard can it be?" And that phrase, how hard can it be? It's like, is it brain surgery? No. Is it rocket science? No. I've seen somebody else do it. Let's give it a shot. How hard can it be? Yeah, don't stick to things that's what I know. You're absolutely right.
Another mantra, like I know you're big on those, Annabelle, is I can do hard things. Like that is something I've been telling myself every day, because that's I think what the fear factor is a lot. Is like, oh, that's so hard. Like, and that kind of reminds your body about how hard it was that all the stuff you've gone through. And of course, you're immediately thinking of the most traumatic, difficult situation you've been in your life. And you're like, oh, it's going to be hard. So it's going to be like that thing that like tormented me forever. I don't know.
It's funny you say that, Colleen, because I tell my girls that every setback that I've ever faced or they face, that's the first words out of my mouth, and it just automatically resets their brains, and it stops a lot of people until they actually speak that out loud, and then they're like, oh yeah, I can do it. This is just temporary.
We were talking about that earlier today on my Wellness Wednesday, because we do a lot of aromatherapy, and the big thing for me is your mantra, like, what's your intention? Right? I don't care what, there's 1,000 different ways to get 1,000 different things done, but putting your intention behind it is what matters, right? Like, because you say like, here's my plan, but if you don't put your intention behind it, you don't say like, put that behind it, then there's some more words in here, but spicy brain just left me, so that's all I got.
Don't you hate when that happens?
It's the ADHD life, man. I'm a genius. I'm a genius sometimes, and then I'm a bumbling idiot half the other time. Like, I don't know.
I think we get excited with the thoughts, and then we get ahead of it, and they're like, wait, you didn't get all the way there yet.
Yeah. I'm like, error 404, end of sentence not found.
So I love that, we're being honest in that maybe what we're doing now is not our initial dream, right? And I feel like that's part of the dream big. You start somewhere, you do bigger because now you're doing something differently. It's probably expanded, or you're pulling parts of different dreams and you're making that a cumulative one dream. And it doesn't mean it can't evolve. It doesn't mean it can't change. It could totally change fields. It can change everything. But I believe one of the biggest things, and we already kind of talked about it, is community, leaning in on your community, whatever that looks like for you. And I think one of the biggest things that maybe even us here at She Rises didn't see being able to expand the way that it has was how much, when you start that conversation of community, how much it changes and evolves. And that's why we're here today. So it's because of you ladies and the individuals on the other side watching and listening and talking about these hard conversations that we typically have in our minds by ourselves. It doesn't get you anywhere if you only talk to yourself. It can only get you so far. You have to talk to somebody else. It helps you to grow, learn, have an open mind, challenge each other's thoughts. That doesn't mean having arguments. It means having debates. It means talking about why something will work, why you feel like it wouldn't. And it's just a lot of fun. I just want to thank you all so much for joining us here today. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Congratulations to all you ladies. We did it. We have more to come. Please do join us on our next panel discussion. You should get some invites. Share the links below. And go ahead and get your book on Amazon. Right now, it's still 99 cents. Dream big, do bigger. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you for
you.
supporting us.